All right, guys, so we learned about multiples yesterday and how you multiply a number bigger and bigger and bigger, like the multiple monster. And you do 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. You multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can go on infinitely. And those are all your multiples. When you multiply a number, they're your multiples. And you always start with the number because 3 times 1 or any number times 1 is itself. So that's always your first multiple. And then we talked about factors. And that's when you break apart a number. So 6 can be broken up into 1 times 6 equals 6. 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 times 2 also equals 6, but we already have 2 and 3, so we don't need to put them. And we did the same over here. And one that I kind of wanted to mention was if you have a double of something. So let's say I have the number 16. Well, I have 1 times 16. 2, I can do 2 times 8. 3, nope, can't do 3. Can I do 4? Yeah, I can do 4 times 4. But when I list out my multiples, I only need to put one of the 4s. I don't need to put 2 of them. I could still have it in my multiple list, but if they ask me, like, what are the multiples of 16, I would write 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. I kind of go in number order up. And I don't need to put 2 4s because that's kind of repetitive. All right, so that's multiples and factors. Boom, you got it. Well, now there's something else that you need to learn. Multiples, well, you have something called the least common multiple. And you guys know a multiple means we're making it bigger. You know, if something's common, it means it happens a lot, right? So it's common to wear sneakers to PE. It's common to pack a lunch to school. That just means that it happens a lot. And it's kind of in common with a lot of people. If you have something in common with someone, you share it, right? So I have it in common with Maya that I have curly hair, right? It's something you have in common. And then least means it's the smallest, right? So if I give you 2 numbers, let's say 5 and 4, and I ask you to find the least common multiple, or the LCM, I want you to find the multiples of 5, find the multiples of 4, and then tell me which one do they share and what's the smallest one that they share, because it has to be the least. You could have lots of common multiples with 2 numbers, but we want the smallest one. So I'm going to first just start with the multiples of 5. So I go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I like to list out at least 5 or so, and if I need to list more, I can. And then I start with 4, and I go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. Do you see one that's in common? In this line and this line, I see one that repeats. The 20 is in common. Now, if I keep going, I'm going to have another common multiple with 4. It's going to be 40, right? But that's not the least one, so we don't want that as the LCM. The LCM is the one that's the smallest. So to repeat, let's do 3 and 9. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to list out my multiples of 3. List out a couple of them. I'm going to list out some multiples of 9. I think I need to go a little bigger on 3. What do you think? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oh, I think we got a winner. I have 18. So my LCM equals 18, and my LCM over here equals 18. So that's how you find your LCM, your least common multiple. You list out the multiples and you choose the one that's the smallest. Got it? All right, now changing gears. Factors. When we break apart a number, You're looking for what can I multiply together to get that product. So you have something called the greatest common factor. Oh my goodness, can't hold it. Greatest common factor. This isn't gonna work. I'm writing it on a new piece of paper because I can't hold the paper down. All right, greatest common factor, okay? Same thing that we did before, where we know that if something's common, it happens between both of our numbers. They share it. If it's a factor, we're breaking it up with our t-chart or listing out what we know multiplies together to get that number. And the greatest one is going to be now the biggest. So when we did least common multiple, we were looking for the smallest, but greatest, we're going to look for the biggest one that they share, okay? So if I give you the numbers 12 and the number 16, I'm going to find the factors for both of those numbers. And I like to do a t-chart. You can do whatever way makes you happy. I'm going to start out with 12. I'm going to say 1 times something gives me 12. Oh yeah, 1 times 12. 2 times something. Oh yeah, 2 times 6. 3 times something. Yep, 3 times 4. 4 times something. Yeah, 4 times 3, but I already have that, so I know I'm done with all my factors. Then I come over here to 16 and I go 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 3 times nothing, so I skip that one, 4 times 4. All right, those are all my factors. When you're finding the GCF, you want to keep going until you have all of your factors. When we did our multiples, we stopped until we found one that they shared. We don't do that here because we want the biggest one, so you have to find all of them first, okay? That's the hardest part. So now I'm gonna look and see, do I have 1 in common? Yes. 2? Yes. So right now, that's the biggest one. 3? No, 16 doesn't have 3. 12? No, 16 doesn't have 12. 6? No, doesn't have 6. 4? Yeah, it has 4. That's my biggest one. It shares 1, 2, and 4, not those. But it doesn't, the highest one is 4, so my GCF equals 4, okay? If I was looking for the least common factor, that would be 1, but we don't do that. We just find the greatest one. All right, let's do one more example, and then I'll leave you guys to do it on your own. Let's do 22 and 15. Interesting choices. All right, 22. I know 1 times 22 gives me 22. I know 2 times 11. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. 6, no. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, I have 11 times 2, so I know that's all the factors of 22. 1 times 15, 2, no, that doesn't work. 3 times 5, 4, no, that doesn't work. 5 times 3, okay, I already have that, so we're good to go. So these are all my factors. Now I want to figure out which ones do they have in common that they share. They have 1. They don't have 2. They don't have 22. They don't have 11. They don't have 3. They don't have 5. They don't have 15. Can you have a GCF of 1? You sure can. So that is our GCF. All right. So when you guys are working today, you're going to do this worksheet on least common multiples. And you got lots of them to practice because it is a hard concept. And if you're doing this, you might want to like find some space. Like maybe I'll do the multiples of 3 here and the multiples of 8 here and then list them out. And the same over here, there's not a lot of room to show your t-chart, so I might want to get a new piece of paper because I personally like to have more space, so maybe get some lined paper or try to cram it in there, but make sure you have enough room to fit them all, okay? Like 15 might have a bunch, or 30 and 24, they definitely have a lot. So you might want to get some lined paper. And you're going to try to find the GCF. So remember, the GCF is the biggest one that they share, and the LCM is the smallest one, that the first one that you get when you do all the multiples. Okay, and here's a little chart here to kind of help you. And you guys can work on this when you are at your rotations. All right, good luck.